Today is a very special day for many reasons. First thing is that we will sail with Africa to our side for the first time. Then it's also the last day where it's a big risk of the orcas. It's also the biggest risk of orcas. This is the stretch where the most incident has been. But once we pass this, I think we are going to be safe. And we will also enter the Mediterranean today as we are passing Tarifa, which is also the most southerly part of Europe. So I think we're going to enjoy this day and we're hopefully going to leave soon because it's been a very, very rolly, uncomfortable night. So we're just making breakfast and then we're going to lift the anchor and hopefully set sails. It's not a lot of wind, but I really hope so.
I think it's quite cool to have Africa south of us and that we can see the coast. And yesterday evening when we were sitting at the boat and we saw the lights from Africa, that was cool.
Out there is Africa. It's a little bit hard to see because it's a little bit misty at the moment. But it's an early morning, so I think it's going to clear up. It's an interesting, really flat water, even though it's a lot of swell. When going into the Med, we are supposed to have the current with us, since the water in the Mediterranean is more salty than in the Atlantic, so it sinks and the other water fills inside. But it doesn't seem to be the case because we are very, very slow at the moment. Hopefully once we get to the more narrow part, we will see the effect from it. On Tarifa, which is the southerly point of Europe, but from what we heard, it's not very sailors friendly here because you are prohibited to anchor on both sides of this little island, and you're also not welcome in the harbor. So at first we had planned to stop here because it's marked as an anchorage and port in all the charts and the pilot books, but now we're just gonna pass it by. I had spotted a really secluded anchorage, but as so many days before, the waves were not really doing our favor in staying there, so instead we find Found another place with lots of boats, with lots of people, but it's still kind of pretty and it's super hot. Not in the water, but I think it's time to go swimming. And in the darkness we could see the lights from Gibraltar across the bay as the music from all the party boats tuned out in the night and calmness descended around us. Next morning we had no hurry since it was only a tiny distance there. We are currently leaving our anchorage and heading over to Gibraltar, where we have a marina reservation now. There is not many places in the marinas here and they are really popular, so we made our reservation like 3 days ago, and one of the marinas, they told us they might have a place like within a month, but the other one had a spot for us. So we're not really sure about the other one because they said for your size boat, so maybe they just want bigger boats because it's a fancy marina, I don't know. But now we have a reservation, so we're gonna go there and check out the town and be a little British again. For the first time in weeks we were now on deeper water, and it was hard to escape the feeling that orcas could show up and damage Tilda. But instead Johan got to see his first dolphins. Driving in next to the airport runway, it would be kind of cool if it came a plane. We're off in the early morning to go up the rock of Gibraltar behind me to see the monkeys. We're really excited about this, right?
Yeah, really excited. Hoping for lots of monkeys.
Yeah. Everywhere there were careful reminders that monkeys were not so friendly, and that you by no means could bring anything eatable, as they would steal it and maybe scratch you by doing so. It wasn't the clearest day, but on the other hand we didn't mainly come for the views, but to see this national animal of Gibraltar, the only free roaming monkeys in Europe. Those Barbary apes are tailless monkeys, and that is why they are also known as apes, although being monkeys. Regardless, we try to keep our distance. Although being wild, they are apparently fed, and our guess is that is to keep it more safe for visitors. It turned out to be a lot of monkeys, or macaques I think they're called, the apes. But you cannot walk into the nature reserve at all, not even hiking, without paying like the entrance fee for all the attractions that are inside. And we're not that much for tourist attractions, so it would have been nice to walk in the park to take a trail, but it was really expensive, so we're gonna take the cable car down again. And of course some people had food anyway, so they got a bit aggressive as we waited for the cable car. We're back down from the apes, back in safety, and we're gonna have a look at the botanical garden. Seems also very pretty and very shady this day. It's a really beautiful park, a lot of cactuses and trees and some shade, but it's also super hot today and it's really humid in the air, so it's I like it, but this is a little bit really hot. We also take a chance to walk by the marina where we wanted to stay, but they had no space for our size vessel. But it's not very fancy boats here either, so maybe they were just full. It's also not very big. I also discovered they have mooring lines, so I'm pretty happy right now we took the other one. Then we must say a few days in Gibraltar is well enough, and once we sailed around the rock of Gibraltar we felt we were finally in the Mediterranean for real. Almost a year later than expected, and we were more than ready for some new adventures here. Join us next week as we start to explore the blue waters of this sea that is almost completely enclosed by land. If you like this episode, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you like to support the making of those episodes, you can also become a Patreon or buy me a coffee at the links below.